So imagine being just 10 years old, youngest of 7 children, and having your home attacked. Fleeing for danger and walking miles and miles and miles each day with nothing but a small pot and a bucket of rice to share amongst your family each night. That was my grandmother's reality during the Battle of Okinawa. Her name is Lois Haruko Washigawa, born on September 16, 1935 in Naha, Okinawa, and to me, she was simply Grandma. For nearly 15 years, I've been recording her stories and capturing her voice. And she told me how as they fled their home in search for higher ground, her father would climb trees to look ahead for danger, and they hid in the caves up in the mountains. They were there for days, if not weeks, and some would leave the cave in search for water or food. And each night, she remembered the sound of quiet crying. Families realizing their loved ones weren't coming back. But here's the part that shaped me. What she carried forward from those memories wasn't fear or bitterness, it was gratitude. Gratitude that her family reunited each night, and that she lived through something that took so much away from others. That sense of gratitude became her compass and eventually became mine. In 2014, I was able to bring my grandmother to Okinawa to see her family for just the second time in 50 years. And we visited the Okinawa Prefectural Peace Memorial Museum, a place where they commemorate all that was lost during the Battle of Okinawa. We went through the long walkway filled with granite stones engraved with the names of 250,000 lives lost. And at the end stands a fountain. We stood together at the cliff overlooking the ocean, and she grew quiet. A tear rolled down her face, and she told me how, as a little girl, she remembers seeing people take their own life, jumping from that 800-foot cliff into the sea, terrified of what capture would look like by the military. And it was just one of the few times she shared something that raw. But standing beside her, I realized how much pain she carried in silence. After the war, she carried that same resiliency across the ocean, starting over in Hawaii through an arranged marriage, or miyai kekkon, as she called it, moving here with a man 20 years older than her, knowing no one, facing the fear of the unknown, but remaining confident in who she was. And that was someone who always went out of her way to help others, and who believed that the only way to treat people is with kindness. She raised me and my brother through much of our childhood in Kekaha, Kauai, as country gets. Nothing open past 5 p.m. Days spent playing in the sugarcane fields, and we didn't have much, but all we needed was our bicycles and each other. I remember being 5 or 6 years old and going to the local neighborhood center where we would help distribute vegetables and canned goods before sunrise to those in need. Some volunteers would quietly take a box or two for themselves, but not her. She was very strict, always saying at the dinner table or potlucks, "Bichang, dame." Others needed more than we do. We can always buy. And I'll be honest, as a kid, it wasn't my favorite thing to do, and eventually we were given the choice to stay home. And so for a while, we did. Sleeping in to 11, 12 o'clock was the absolute dream, especially during summer vacation. But what struck me was this. While we slept in, she had already been up since 3 a.m., went out to exercise, made breakfast, gone out to serve the community, came home to make lunch, all before we even opened our eyes. And it didn't take long for my brother and I to realize what we were missing. And while preparing for this speech, I came to realize that she never asked us to help. She simply led by example, through quiet consistency and selfless love, and we started to ask her if we could join her again. Not because she forced us, but because she showed us how fulfilling it could be to start our day by doing something for others. Those small acts repeated over and over became the rhythm of our childhood. And she was always giving, always putting others first, and that quiet consistency has shaped who I am today. A reminder that I have the choice to contribute. I have the choice to step forward and to help, and it's where my belief in service really began. Not through words, but through her actions. And just as my grandma shaped me, so too have my mentors. People like Norman Nakasone, former USJC board member, and someone I look up to as my second father. Yo Kawanami, JAL 2024, and current USJC board member, both who have poured their wisdom, their time, their love, and sacrifice into me. However, I've come to realize that no matter what I do, I may never be able to repay them for all that they've done for me. But what I can do is follow in their example. And that is to open up my heart the same way they've opened up theirs. I can pay it forward. Before we continue, you'll hear next from Koba Matsumoto, one of our founding board members, and he'll share how USJC's early days weren't smooth, how difficult conversations and conflict were huge obstacles to overcome. But just like my grandmother's story, USGC found strength by bringing those together who prioritize collaboration and generosity. And that spirit is at the heart of our mission. When I think about the US-Japan Council cultivating and connecting leaders committed to strengthening our global partnership, I can't help but think about my grandma. She survived the war, built a new life in Hawaii, and devoted herself to community. Not through titles or positions, but through everyday acts of kindness and service. In her own quiet way, she was that bridge between struggle and hope, between Okinawa and Hawaii, and between generations. Her story reminds me that kindness and service aren't the small things, and they're what holds our communities together. Her legacy reminds me that true leadership does not begin with influence. It begins with service. And when each of us choose to give back with humility, it creates the kind of trust and connection that USJC stands for. And that's the future I see for all of us. A community of bridge builders, grounded in gratitude and united in purpose, and inspired by those who have come before us. My grandma didn't wait for the right moment to give. She didn't need recognition. She gave because she could. Because she understood that's what keeps communities and our hearts alive. So each of us holds that same ability to make a difference. Whether it's mentoring someone younger, volunteering, serving on a board of a nonprofit organization, or stepping up when someone else needs a hand. Or simply just to stay back and clean up. Those are the simple moments that define who we are. Ian Kitajima, president of Picture, once told me, when you raise your hand to volunteer, don't sign up for the easy thing. Raise your hand for the one thing no one wants to do, because that's where you'll grow. So I challenge you, don't wait to be asked. Don't wait for the perfect time. Raise your hand and show up. Do the hard thing and serve with your whole heart. Volunteer roles are meant to challenge you, to help you learn, connect, and most importantly, to help you grow. Because when we give selflessly, we're not only honoring those who have come before us, we're inspiring those who will come after. 80 years after that little girl carried a pot of rice through the war, her granddaughter now carries her story. This is a reminder that even the smallest acts of service can build bridges, and that keeps our community strong. And that's what leadership looks like. That's what community looks like, and that's what my grandma taught me, and what I hope to carry forward with all of you. I'm very proud to be a part of this year's ELP class, where I look forward to seeing all that we accomplish in years to come, but most importantly, all that we do to give back to this organization and those around the world. So today, as we carry forward the mission of the USJC, I think of my grandmother, a woman who endured the worst of war, yet chose to live with gratitude, to lead with kindness and serve without expectation. Her story reminds me that leadership isn't about recognition, it's about responsibility. And each of us has the power to continue that legacy. This is a message I leave for her from my heart to hers. おばあちゃん、沖縄戦でのこれは想像できないけど、その時の体験がおばあちゃんを強くて幸せな女性にしていると思います。こんなに素敵な人をおばあちゃんと呼べて幸せです。おばあちゃんの勇気と犠牲、そしてデイン君と私を育ててくれたことにありがとう。おばあちゃんの笑顔、笑い声、愛が私、そして近い将来は私の子供たちと共に生き続けることでしょう。すべておばあちゃんのおかげです。ありがとう。Grandma, I can't imagine all that you went through during the war, but I know it shaped the strong, happy woman that you are today, and I'm lucky to call you my grandma. Thank you for your courage, your sacrifice, and for raising me and Jane. Your smile, your laughter, and your love will live on through me, and one day, through our children, through my children. おかげさまで I am who I am because of you. Love you, Grandma.